Tularosa Basin, a valley bounded by rugged mountain ranges and alive with legends and dreams. This is a country with deep historic roots. More than 4 centuries ago, Cabeza de Vaca led his Spanish explorers through the Tularosa on his trek from Florida to the Gulf of California. The Apache tribe has lived and hunted in this area for centuries. The tribe's warriors were once led by Geronimo. Bloody wars were fought here at the turn of the century for cattle grazing and water rights. And such legends as Billy the Kid and Sheriff Pat Garrett roamed the basin and mountains. But the real history of the basin is found in those people who came here following their personal dreams. They ventured into the wilderness to find something better. These people tamed and settled the area. This is a place rich in the colorful heritage of yesterday. It is also a place of tomorrow.
This is a hunt run. Contact MDI. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
White Sands Missile Range is located in southern New Mexico between Albuquerque and El Paso. It's the largest Department of Defense installation in the United States, 100 miles long, up to 40 miles wide. The range's 2 million acres give it a unique combination of land and airspace to serve as the nation's leading missile testing center. Included in the missile range boundaries is White Sands National Monument, from which the range derives its name. Part of the National Park Service, the monument's 230 square miles contain the world's largest deposit of pure white gypsum. White Sands Missile Range was established on July 9, 1945. 1 week later, on the 16th at 5:30 a.m. Mountain War time, the world's first atomic bomb was exploded at Trinity Site on the northern end of the range. The bomb's test ushered the world into a new age. The test site is now a National Historic Landmark, which includes Ground Zero, the George McDonald Ranch House, where the plutonium core to the bomb was assembled, and the base camp where scientists lived while preparing the test. During World War II, while the United States developed one weapon of the future, the Germans developed another, the guided missile. The Germans' use of the V-2 rocket at the close of the war dramatically demonstrated it would soon be possible to deliver huge amounts of firepower across continents and oceans. Here at White Sands, we launched dozens of captured V-2 rockets to test the new missile technology. White Sands scientists used the V-2 to propel the first motion picture camera to the fringes of outer space for man's first look back at the Earth. In addition, a V-2 was used as part of the first successful 2-stage rocket firing. In 1983, the Army blockhouse and gantry, which were designed to support V-2 firings, were dedicated as a New Mexico State Historical Monument. Today, it takes some 8,000 highly skilled people to carry out the range's mission. It is a workforce of military personnel, government employees, and contractors. The range is operated and managed by the Army, but its mission is to serve all services and agencies, to be responsible to the evolving defense posture and work to maintain and advance our country's technological base, to meet the needs of national security and to support scientific advances in other areas as well. To accomplish our advanced technology mission, we have kept pace with the world's scientific advances and we're now the most highly instrumented testing range in the free world. The range is dotted with a wide spectrum of optical and electronic instruments used to collect data on each test. All the instrumentation and computer systems are tied together by an extensive communications network. The tremendous amounts of raw test data funneling in from the instruments in the field can only be handled by sophisticated computers. During an actual missile flight, only computers can provide the lightning speed of calculation necessary to combine the data from many instruments into meaningful displays to permit control of the test. In addition to keeping track of the progress of the test, the computers monitor the internal health of the missile through telemetry signals radioed from the missile to ground receivers. Computers also check the quality of the information being received from various instruments, and if a particular instrument's data look inaccurate, the computer instantly switches to an instrument with better data quality. For many tests, the computers may generate commands to the missile or target which can correct flight paths, change test conditions, or even terminate flight in the event of a malfunction. Interacting with the computer, range personnel monitor incoming data and can call for a variety of information to be displayed. Not only as testing tools, but as safety tools, such state-of-the-art systems are invaluable. And White Sands has reason to be proud of its safety record after decades of operation. The range works closely with the public to ensure safety. Our policy is that no member of the public is subjected to any avoidable risk. To implement this policy, we have agreements with our neighbors to the north and west, which permit us to evacuate them from their homes for short periods during tests which might result in an impact on their property. We also have an agreement with the state of New Mexico, which permits us to block highways crossing the range and clear them of traffic when there is a chance of test objects impacting on or near a highway. As a result of our policy and the cooperation of our neighbors and the motoring public, there have been no injuries to the public because of our test operations involving over 40,000 firings. Since missiles do occasionally malfunction, similar safety precautions are taken to protect our own workforce and the dependents who live at White Sands. As a result, there has never been a serious injury to range employees or post residents as a result of a missile firing. Missile failures often prove useful. Each one yields valuable information for future tests. The Army has used the range's extensive facilities to test its MLRS, Multiple Launch Rocket System. The MLRS, with its self-propelled launcher loader, can deliver a ripple fire punch of 12 rockets with devastating effect. The Army tests its shoulder-fired Stinger Post, a highly accurate surface-to-air missile. The initials, POST, stand for Passive Optical Seeker Technique. Tests with a telemetry-bearing missile indicate that it seeks and finds very effectively. Improved versions of the Army's Hawk air defense missile, capable of operating in a wide variety of battlefield environments, continue to be tested at White Sands. At the same time, testing proceeds on the Patriot surface-to-air system, slated to replace Hawk and Nike Hercules missiles. Patriot is effective in defeating high-performance aircraft in enemy electronic countermeasure environments. Another Army program involves the testing of a cannon-launched, laser-guided projectile. This smart anti-tank artillery round is known as the Copperhead. Arriving in the target area, the Copperhead seeks out the reflected light of a laser designator, trained on the tank target and homes in on it. This round did not carry a warhead, but instrumentation to monitor the projectile's performance. The new Sergeant York Division Air Defense gun system underwent tactical testing at the range's North Oscura peak area. The Sergeant York is designed to provide all-weather forward area defense against high-performance aerial threats, as well as hostile light armor on the ground. NATO's Sunday Punch, the Pershing II missile, was put through much of its testing at White Sands. Pershing II has a longer range than its predecessor, the Pershing 1A, and onboard radar to guide it to its target with pinpoint accuracy. This slow-motion footage of a Pershing II impact demonstrates some of the range's photo capabilities. The Roland Air Defense System, originally designed by France and West Germany, went through extensive testing here. It is deployed with the New Mexico National Guard. From the start, the U.S. Navy has made extensive use of the range's facilities and capabilities. The Navy's Ares upper air sounding rockets have repeatedly reached out into the fringes of space to gather stellar and solar data. The high-altitude research efforts continue, using, among other Navy sounding rockets, the Black Brant, shown here in slow motion. Performance of Navy ship-to-air weapons is tested here, such as the variations of the Standard Missile, to include the medium range, extended range, and Aegis. These defensive missiles will be handled by the Navy's Vertical Launching System, or VLS. The VLS design is aimed at providing Navy ships with a general-purpose system that can automatically handle and launch a mix of missile types to meet a variety of types of threat. Another type of anti-missile weapon is the Rolling Airframe Missile, or RAM, tested against supersonic Vandal target missiles. The Navy's Tomahawk cruise missile has been tested to demonstrate the operational performance of its integrated guidance and aircraft systems. A joint Navy and Air Force program tests a variety of air-to-air missiles designed to give greater firepower to many types of combat aircraft. Nearby Holloman Air Force Base is the staging area for Air Force projects. The Air Force tests an air-to-ground missile called SRAM, shown here being launched from a B-1 bomber. Other examples of Air Force testing include the AIM-9, or Sidewinder, shown here, and the AMRAAM, or Advanced Medium-Range Air-to-Air Missile. A continuing Air Force program uses high-altitude balloons to gather upper atmospheric data for space research. Since balloons stay aloft much longer than rockets, they're especially suited for certain astrophysical and upper air investigations. This Air Force program also supports tests involving deep space vehicles. The NASA Galileo, designed to probe the atmosphere of Jupiter, undergoes high-altitude drop tests to evaluate its performance on descent into an atmosphere. At the NASA facility, located on the west side of the range, a steam ejector altitude simulation system uses pressurized steam to create a vacuum in test chambers. Rocket engines can be fired in the chambers to test performance in a rarefied atmosphere. Systems studied here have run the gamut from rocket motors to astronaut life support equipment. Strips of different compositions undergo flammability tests to determine auto-ignition temperatures and propagation rates. For NASA shuttle flights, the range provides radar and telemetry as well as backup landing facilities, which were called into use in March of 1982 for the landing of SDS-3, the Columbia. Since 1976, NASA astronauts have used their shuttle trainer to perfect landing techniques at the range's White Sands Space Harbor. NASA's TDRS, Tracking Data Relay Satellite System, also utilizes on-range facilities to communicate with space vehicles. TDRS capabilities include both voice and data communication for satellites and vehicles in low Earth orbit, such as the Space Shuttle. In addition to its technical mission, White Sands Missile Range provides aircraft control, airspace, and real estate for Department of Defense maneuvers. Weather is an important factor in any outdoor test activity. One of the range's tenant organizations, the Atmospheric Sciences Laboratory, provides meteorological support for all test missions. Using Loki rockets to probe conditions in the upper atmosphere, and automated solar-powered weather stations for observing surface conditions, plus a satellite ground terminal that collects cloud cover information every 15 minutes from geosynchronous satellites in orbit. To aid performance evaluation under specific extremes of climate, White Sands has simulation facilities which can provide the full range of environments from the bone-chilling cold of the Arctic to the tropical heat, humidity, and torrential rain, to dry, blowing dust. Other realistic stresses must be brought to bear on equipment under evaluation. Jarring road tests over courses several miles long. Vibration table tests that can compress months of field use into just hours. Entire missile systems or components can be bombarded with nuclear radiation to simulate certain battlefield conditions. To test specific materials for their reaction to intense heat, the White Sands solar furnace can focus thermal energy equal to that put out by a nuclear bomb up to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Other state-of-the-art technology in use includes such instrumentation as the computer-controlled gas chromatograph and mass spectrometer. It will automatically separate an organic sample into its components, analyze and identify them from its memory bank of 30,000 elemental fingerprints, and display or print out the results. Equally advanced in another area of technology is the range's drone formation control system, DFCS. This provides computerized remote control of airborne or ground targets in formation at ranges up to 60 miles. The system can control formations of unmanned tanks or pilotless jet aircraft. The Defense Nuclear Agency regularly uses White Sands to conduct high explosive field tests. In the direct course test, 600 tons of ammonium nitrate fuel oil explosive were suspended in a fiberglass sphere above the desert floor. This equivalent to a 1 kiloton nuclear burst exposed structures, shelters, and military equipment to blast and heat effects. Over 200 experiments were conducted during the test. Elsewhere in the range, the National Laser Test Facility has been constructed to study 21st century weapons. The tri-surface facility is designed to support laser weapon developments to include combustion-driven chemical lasers. The complex will allow users full-scale weapon system testing and evaluation. The study of lasers is laying the foundation for the future. Preparing for tomorrow has been a tradition at White Sands since operations began in 1945. It is the business of White Sands Missile Range to reach beyond today. Our programs often take us up and out, away from Earth. But the reason for those programs has both feet on the ground, or the deck of a ship, or the rudder controls of an aircraft. Our mission in the end is to help develop and prove the tools that will make it possible for America's soldiers, sailors, and airmen to do their jobs, to defend and preserve those two essential things, freedom and peace.